Ladies and gentlemen, huge evening this evening. Huge day today. Kevin McCarthy failed 3 times in a row. We will talk about who can become speaker aside from McCarthy. I have a lot of videos talking about Jim Jordan. Now, Jim Jordan has overtaken McCarthy for the moment. Steve Scalise essentially has. Matt Gaetz had an inside track. And now we have McCarthy, who is battling, going on to his 4th round tomorrow. So sometimes it's very difficult to give you exactly what's going on with the battle for Speaker of the House, but I'm going to try to give you the up-to-date news, which is what I've been doing, and which is why a lot of the segments have done very well and why people are subscribing to the channel. We are over 201,000 subscribers. It's because of you. Hit subscribe right now. We're going to talk about the Twitter files, part 11. And Eric, everybody here, New York, Frank, Lynn, Nunya, everybody here, Rob, thank you so very much for tuning in. And Paul Bartlett, thank you to my super chat. Paul Bartlett, thank you so very, very, very much. I can't do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. Your super chat support is greatly, greatly appreciated. Paul, thank you as always. G-Dog, OG-Dog, hello. Thank you, everybody. And Tough It Out, hello. Thanks, everybody. Jim Jordan, we'll get to the Twitter files in a second. This 1984 Brave New World and Fahrenheit 451. You look, ladies and gentlemen, and it's pretty amazing. You are here, the dystopian nightmare that politics have become. It's unfortunate because you have a situation where unless government agencies, and this is what Democrats or media don't understand, unless government agencies don't get involved with Twitter. Now, this is the main point of the Twitter files. This is the main point. And we're going to get to the Speaker of the House battle in a second. And to my super chat, Paul Bartlett in Australia, thank you so very, very much. And God bless you. Have a fantastic new year, everybody. Doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, Republican, far left, conservative, it doesn't matter. Happy New Year. God bless you. Have a great 2023. But here's the political landscape from my vantage point, okay? Which I think is the reality of the situation, okay? This is the reality of the situation. If you don't have government agencies siding with the Democratic Party, if you don't have government agencies siding with the Democratic Party, then most people will not listen to the consensus prevailing mentality. They just simply won't care. They just simply will not care. CMW! Getting interesting, tell it, HA. Thank you so very much. CMW! Thank you as always. Happy New Year to you and to Paul Bartlett. Thank you so very much, CMW. Thank you as always. If you don't have government agencies silencing hundreds of thousands and censoring hundreds of thousands of profiles on Twitter, then what you get is a discussion at in the global digital commons or social media platform that people around the world visit to discuss politics. What you get is a discussion that is antithetical to what Democrats believe in. Democrats point to authority and consensus and a fabricated mainstream viewpoint. They fabricate this mainstream viewpoint by silencing and censoring and suppressing any dissent. A consensus, if you have 10 people in a room and you tape the mouths shut of 3 of those people, and the other 7 say, you know what, I don't want that to happen to me, so I'll just agree with whatever I'm told. That is a consensus. 7 of the 10, but 3 have been silenced with, whatever means necessary. And you don't have actual dialogue, discourse, debate, discussion. So when you are told, oh, this is 100% good, wonderful, fantastic, and there are people in the wilderness saying, no, that's not 100% correct, no, that's wrong, no, that's not the case, and you've destroyed their income. That's another way Democrats see. Another thing Democrats and media and all of these political action committees and all of these um, non-governmental organizations and nonprofits and centers for truth and integrity, what they'll do is if they don't like something, they will demand advertisers leave. They do this with every platform because nobody listens. Generally, the left has to, even on the left. Do you know what it's like? I was a YouTuber on the left for a number of years. Okay. Do you know what it's like? Okay, you basically essentially need therapy because everyone dislikes one another. I became a supporter of Trump because I felt he was the best president that we've had in a long, long time. Record low poverty and a foreign policy that's the antithesis of the Lincoln Project. Everything I want in a president. Was he perfect? No, he's a million times better than Biden. But what happens is when I left the left, suddenly nobody was after me. Suddenly everyone was fine with what I was saying and nobody cared about my viewpoint. When you are conservative, more conservative, or you become a supporter of Trump or a more conservative viewpoint, nobody cares. You can say that you dislike certain things Trump does. You could say that you're liberal on certain things. I'm liberal on like I want dreamers to become citizens, but I'm obviously supporting Trump very much so, and I support them. Conservative on a lot of things like the Second Amendment, but nobody cares. Nobody says I'm disloyal and this and that. I said for a while. I said, look, Kevin McCarthy's my. I mean, sorry, not. Um, DeSantis is my second choice. Didn't really get any pushback. It was fine. Nobody really cared. CMW, Paul, everyone here to my super chat, thank you. The way the left works is the following. Your Medicare for All plan isn't as good as mine. I'm not going to be your friend anymore. Your Medicare for All plan it's basically like arguing about Dungeons and Dragons. You might as well argue about who's a better magic user or druid. Or, who is, the better, wizard or whatever in Dungeons and Dragons. Okay? It's never going to happen. None of these things, the Green New Deal, they wouldn't even vote on the Green New Deal, just like they wouldn't even vote Democrats on Medicare for All. It's a racket. And we're in between, we're in between the little meeting point of Brave New World in 1984 and Fahrenheit 451, because what Democrats and media want is a world where their ideas that don't make sense, their ideas that aren't compelling. See, you have to understand the philosophical side of this, ladies and gentlemen. Democratic, liberal, and progressive ideas are not compelling when I wouldn't say Medicare for All is a fantastic idea if it worked. It's not feasible. But liberal and progressive ideas generally are not compelling when faced with scrutiny. And I understand because I come from the left. I understand their vantage point. It has replaced religion. It has replaced religion. So you have to understand the Twitter files are a lot more than just, hey, government agencies combined with Twitter to suspend hundreds of thousands of conservative voices in the New York Post. It's a lot more than that, people. It's a lot more than that. That's why I have this amazing graphic from Elon Musk. Okay, this is Elon Musk's Twitter profile. We'll get to um, the Twitter files and then Kevin McCarthy in a second. CMW and Paul Bartlett and everybody here, to my super chat. I cannot do this without you. To the new, we've gone 1,000 subs in the past 1 day and a half. So we're on our way to 250,000 subs. That's my next big hurdle. I would love to get to 300,000 subs this year. If you can tell your friends and family, that's the best thing you could ever do, in addition to the super chat and other ways to support the channel. But ladies and gentlemen, everyone on the left becomes a Trump Republican when their lives are at risk. Suddenly, the Second Amendment is very important to them, but they do so by proxy, or they outsource it. They have a security detail. You'll have Democratic congresswomen, and rightfully so, with a security detail. They could have just purchased their protection themselves. Go to, you can, the Second Amendment allows you to protect yourself, especially if you live in a red state, outside the home in a red state. But you can, every state. When I was threatened by a person on the left, I went to the police department. The policeman said, "Arm yourself, embrace the Second Amendment." So I did. So I did arm myself legally. You know how difficult it is to purchase. It's not to say difficult, but it's a process. You have to get a license. You have to then get a background check every time you purchase a firearm. And I've purchased firearms numerous times. So you're able to protect yourself. But everyone on the left, they'll have security details. They'll flood the country full of strategic petroleum reserves, 200 million barrels. They will become Trump Republicans when it comes down to it. But that's one of the reasons you are here between 1984, Brave New World, and Fahrenheit 451. These are dystopian nightmares where truth is controlled by another, by the state, by someone other than yourself. Okay? I don't like this phrase, your truth. There is no such thing as your truth. There's your opinion, there are your viewpoints, there's your experience, but there's no such thing as your truth. There is the truth. Okay? Being partisan, by the way, doesn't mean you're wrong. Doesn't mean it's not truthful. Okay? RC, hello. So you can have a specific, distinct viewpoint that can be the truth, not just your truth. The truth is that you have government agencies and Democrats working together. The reality, why they're working together, is a debate, but we know why. The fact, there is no debate. The fact is that government agencies are working together with Twitter, Democrats, non-governmental organizations, multinational organizations to further one viewpoint. Okay, the viewpoint happens to be the opposite or very different from what conservatives believe throughout the world. When you remove Twitter, the old regime, when you remove government agencies, when you remove suppression and censorship, and you allow people to just speak their mind, generally the conservative viewpoint wins out. Okay, generally the conservative viewpoint wins out. Okay, for example, a mass atrocity takes place. It could be in a blue state with laws governing the Second Amendment. Immediately they'll talk about the rhetoric of a conservative. Immediately. They won't ever condemn. I don't hear anybody. I don't hear the people in the $20 million venture capital funded people that went after Tim Pool. I don't hear anyone on the left condemning the actual monster that did this. But it's the rhetoric. Then you point out that, well, if it was the rhetoric, why aren't people being sued or indicted by the Department of Justice? How can you prove in a court of law that conservative rhetoric causes this? Then their argument falls apart because they spew the most vile and insightful rhetoric all the time. And they have on their side most of the examples of chaos and mayhem. You could see what happened with the Dobbs decision. Kavanaugh almost lost his life. You think media talked about the rhetoric when churches were torched to the ground? No. So within a moment, within a couple of seconds, the most cherished arguments on the left are dismantled. Okay? Criminal justice reform, by the way, is a libertarian, Rand Paul, Trump Republican viewpoint, not just a progressive viewpoint. But then what the left will do is they'll say, even for people who have been convicted of the most violent and atrocious acts, those people, no bail. It's like, wait, what? What are you talking about? How on earth do you go from criminal justice reform to no bail for people who are objectively individuals who happen to have a criminal history where nobody is safe in their presence? How did you make that absurd leap of logic from normal criminal justice reform? Like, you don't, like, what Biden wrote in the crime bill in 94, the disparity in sentencing for certain substances. How do you go from what Biden did and rectify that to allowing the most violent human beings out on the street to only end other people's lives yet again? But they don't think. People on generally on the left, a lot of times, not all, they don't think. It's just an apoplectic, absurd leap of logic. Justice reform, so therefore let anybody, on the street. But Sam Bankman-Fried, okay, it's like, well, he's out too, and he pled not guilty. But here, um, it's like you have a situation. You have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where let's just start here. Twitter files, Twitter and the Bureau. Okay, but so Twitter was struggling with the problem of public and private agencies bypassing them and going straight to the media with lists of suspect accounts. There shouldn't even have been the issue of suspect accounts, okay? There was a time, ladies and gentlemen, where you could decipher what is true and false. You had an Encyclopedia Britannica. Encyclopedia Britannica. So there was a time when there wasn't such a huge issue. There wasn't such a huge issue with information. So in February, Global Engagement Center, an intelligence arm of the State Department went to the media and okay, so again, because people weren't listening to the government on a health issue, then they said, well, it's the Kremlin. Understand the issue here, and you can look at each one of these on your own. We'll focus on understand, because people can look and decipher what is true and what is not. Kevin, thank you. Because people can Kevin, thank you. I don't know what's going on in the chat, but I have nothing to do with I have no clue what's going on in the chat. Why did I get my account back? The permanently suspended. I don't know why. If there was an issue, then yeah. But so Kevin, hello, Kevin Duder. So The State Department had to ban the pop of zero hedge. So there's nothing wrong with zero hedge. In fact, they link to they link to articles like CNN, just like other publications linked to articles on CNN or Washington Washington Post, narratives, information that misinforms, meaning information that is different from what government wants you to know. And oh, by the way, anything different from the Democratic Party viewpoint and the government viewpoint is an attempt by another country to deceive you. This is the stupidest narrative of all time, or the stupidest propaganda spin. We're happy to work directly with you on this instead of NBC. Roth tried in vain to convince outsider researchers like Clemson Lab to check with them before pushing stories about interference. Okay, so you have no evidence. They had no evidence about any of this stuff other than accusations. This is McCarthy era Red Scare tactics. We learned about this. We learned about this. Kevin, hello. We learned about this growing up. We learned about all of this. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I would never blame anyone. I don't know what's going on in the chat. Kevin, hello. Um, Thank you for being a member, Kevin. If Twitter also tried to reduce the number of agencies with access to Roth, if these folks like Homeland and DHS, once we give them direct contact with you all, we want them to come back to him again and again. Again, this is like, if you look, ladies and gentlemen, it is unbelievable because you had 250,000 accounts. So here, U.S. government agency demanded 250,000 accounts, including journalists and Canadian officials. You cannot do this. This is a Brave New World, Fahrenheit 451, and 1984. This is the epitome of 1984. But Democrats like this. Otherwise, their viewpoints they're not compelling enough to win in an even level playing field. Go and debate your viewpoint in a level playing field. If you cannot, don't silence and suppress the New York Post and others, because the truth about the Democratic Party will make you vote Trump or DeSantis. The truth about the Democratic Party will make you vote Trump or DeSantis. 250,000 accounts. Twitter suspended because they were told to suspend. That's how they worked. And you look, and it's like you have the State Department, Homeland, the Bureau, and 250,000 names. The episode led to a rare disagreement between Twitter and state officials. They shouldn't even be talking to state officials. This is hilarious. I have never seen a time in American history since I've been alive. They're so obsessed with information. Not because of the information, they want compliance. But nobody will comply unless things are demanded through laws, through protocol, through guidelines, through you're not going to work, you won't be able to eat, you won't be able to do this unless you do exactly what we say, and then everything changes to where, oh, you're wrong about that, you're wrong about this, they were wrong about that, and this and that. So the information that misinformed oftentimes came from government, oftentimes came from media, oftentimes came from the people who were apoplectic in forcing you to believe them at all times. You couldn't have a different viewpoint, and if you did, you should never have been born. That's that the issue is that their ideas are not compelling enough to actually just listen to on your own. If you disagree with any sacred cow, and they've done this for years, They could be with their hands caught in the cookie jar, with with their pants caught with their pants down, okay? And they'll say, um, this is information that you should trust us. You shouldn't trust your lying eyes. They have these sacred cows. What they do is they'll take a topic and they'll cloak the topic into Kate Truman, hello. They'll paint the topic with this coat of morally superior liberal indignation. And once it's cloaked and wrapped in morally superior, highly educated liberal indignation, they'll fabricate and create an immediate consensus. And then once they create that fabricated, contrived consensus, they'll say, if you don't agree with us, you're doing the bidding of the Kremlin. And then Democrats will say this is patriotism. Patriotism happens to always side with what we believe. When in reality, patriotism is the opposite. It's disagreeing with Democrats on a number of issues. These are the people who love symbols and symbolism, but if it's a symbol of the country, oh my God, no, no, no. So, you have to understand the mentality is ideas on the left generally aren't compelling enough to win out on their own. So they need censorship and they need that silencing. Grenadine, hello. It is Orwellian, absolutely. And so you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, it is about a battle for emotion. Information is second or even third. It's about emotion, allegiance, and information. They want complete, but they want every negative emotion leveled at Trump or any expert that disagrees with them or any authority or any academic or any researcher, anyone in any field, any official. The consensus is fabricated. And if they fall outside of a consensus, they're a bad human being because look, you don't have to believe in God. You don't have to have a religion. The smartest people I know in my life actually are agnostic. I believe in that God exists. But when your God is a fabricated, phony consensus with government officials silencing dissent through willing participants at Twitter, your religion is a godless religion that is you're worshiping intel agencies, you're worshiping human beings. That's the greatest example of political influence that's ever existed, because when you worship a human being, because when you are worshiping a prevailing viewpoint that benefits other people in politics, that benefits a political party, and you're doing so because you think it helps you, what greater example is that of propaganda or groupthink or influence? People on the left Democrats wanted to believe that they're right about everything because they couldn't possibly believe that anyone who disagreed with them, whether it was Trump or any official, any healthcare, authority, anyone, they couldn't possibly fathom that they were wrong. But you have Kamala Harris saying one thing when Trump was president, and then a completely different thing when Biden was president. And I'm not going to get into what she was talking about, but you can just look at her statements. Voters, hello. Change up 555, hello. You got to look, ladies and gentlemen, at the These people, if you, these are sacred cows. They create sacred cows about a number of topics, and if you disagree, using rational dialogue, debate, discourse, discussion, they will accuse you of heresy and blasphemy. It's a religion to them. The past 3 years, what was a religion? 2016, uh, their Bible stated that the Kremlin wanted Trump. None of this is true. None of this can be proven in a court of law. None of this was proven in a court of law. They didn't indict Trump for anything, yet they accuse him of everything. And they cover up crimes on their end by censoring and by suspending the New York Post. So who are the authoritarians? The people who are complaining about the authoritarians, who actually want freedom of speech. Then you have internal dialogue of I thought the bureau was less Trumpy, is how one former DOD. A deeper reason DHS apolitical. Yeah, right. So the Kremlin and Russia were crutches for Democrats to blame all of their inequities on. That is pretty obvious. We see with the McCarthy era, the McCarthy era politicians are on the left now. They're the ones who create this because they lost in 2016. Belly button we can give you. We're seeing bureau agencies. The agency, you'll know each state. Wow. So they're basically all working with one another, and you have the entire United States government, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, this is interesting. Here, the office asked Twitter to ban journalist Paul Sperry, who is a fantastic journalist. Wow. Welcome to welcome to the authoritarians. You had Democrats working to ban people. The Ross Rodriguez! I just saw this. Thank you for all you do. Hope you and HA Tribe have a happy and healthy 2023. Much love and positive vibes to all. The Ross Rodriguez. Happy New Year. E. Miller. Best show on YouTube. Thank you. E. Miller. Thank you so much. E. Miller. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. The Ross Rodriguez. Thank you so very, very much. Kevin Duder, thank you. The Roz, thank you so much as always for your support. E. Miller, thank you so much again also for the kind words. The Roz Rodriguez, for years supporting this channel. And I really do appreciate all the support. The Roz Rodriguez, so kind of you, so sweet of you, and have a happy and wonderful new year. We're growing. We have 201,000 subscribers, almost at 202,000. The Roz Rodriguez, because of you and everyone here, I cannot thank you enough. The Roz, thank you. The channel is growing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy and feel very fortunate that the channel is growing. I think that I told you, ladies and gentlemen, I said it's not going to be able. They're not going to be able to continue with this. The Roz Rodriguez, the pendulum is swinging back to Trump Republicans. Thank God. Thank God. It's a moral imperative. It is a moral imperative to vote for Trump. I say this because I know that people who are watching this to stumble on this, they'll find that heresy and blasphemy, but they view what happens when you watch Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel at night and you wake up to CNN in the morning and you read the Washington Post and you watch MSNBC in the evening. You don't know that Twitter is working with government agencies to silence the New York Post because Hunter is raking in hundreds of millions of dollars in potential graft and bribery schemes. You don't know, Clinton. And I think she'll be the 24 nominee, but that's just my thought. But if you're a morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrat who is shielded from the truth, you don't know the corruption in your within the Democratic Party. Hunter, Joe, FTX, 1984, Big Brother. You don't know these things. Dave Whalen, thank you. Phoebe! I think we need your voice on Twitter, HA. Phoebe! You know, one of the primary reasons, Phoebe, that I don't get back is that I would spend too much time arguing and debating with people who don't understand why Trump is a great president and why he was a nice Kevin, why he was a great president in terms of uh, accomplishments. And I would spend too much time debunking. They use the word debunk. I would spend too much time debunking the sacred cows on the left. Eric, sacred cows. Eric, samurai. I agree with you about sacred cows. So Phoebe, I think it would be I would be very effective because I'm a decent writer and I have an amusing way of communicating my thoughts. You can read my writing in The Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon, the Jerusalem Post, the Federalist, other publications on hagoodman.com. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I'm building H.A. Goodman's other channel. I have 2 segments every day on that channel. But Phoebe, yeah, I mean, I just don't think I just don't think that I'll ever get back on there just because it's so, when you're on Twitter, you're in Tron, you're in a video game. You're in a video game. And thank you. And I got out of that video game and it's such freedom, you know. Um it's such freedom. Also, one thing that I find very bizarre, Phoebe and everybody here, the Roz Rodriguez, everybody here. Thank you, the Roz Rodriguez. Um did you know that Missy, hello. Did you know that I had close to like 30,000 followers on Twitter? And I did not, it didn't help my YouTube channel. So like when I would tweet out a video, because that's what you would think that, okay, you're on Twitter, you have 30,000 is something. I think it was like around 26th or 27th, but of course the shadow banning was unbelievable. So after a certain while, nobody saw whatever I was tweeting. But it didn't help. Like it didn't grow the channel. And I actually thought because I really thought that it would hurt my channel, but I couldn't stand it anymore. And I was like, you know what? I have to get off. It's just not a good place, not a healthy place. It's a waste of time. And it's a, dystopian nightmare 80s Tron movie where you're stuck in a video game. And then I thought that my channel would be harmed by not being on Twitter. The opposite was true. It's actually better. It's actually better for the channel to not be on Twitter. I mean, in my view, maybe a lot of people would be, disagree with me. But anyway, so we don't do this. Even Twitter declined to honor the Times. Sperry was later suspended, however. Okay, but the fact that that is a First Amendment violation. You have government, you have Democrats. How many times are Republicans calling Twitter to suspend a left-leaning account? How many times did they suspend BuzzFeed? But it could have been information from the Kremlin. Actually, there was an active intelligence official from Moscow, according to the Steele dossier. And they're so worried about information from other countries that might lead you astray. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? So then they say we assess, meaning we think. An assessment is another way of saying our viewpoint. It doesn't mean set in stone, evidence, categorical, anything. So, and then you have payment from the bureau, and oh, this is up. It's just normal. It's just normal. So when they get actually called out, it's always just normal. For more on the Twitter files, for more on the story, read. And so you have a situation where at the end of the day, 250,000 accounts, almost all of which were conservative, were, wow, 250,000. The Roz Rodriguez, thank you again. 250,000 accounts. So, really unbelievable. Really unbelievable. 250,000 accounts. I agree with you, Pete. We do. But Democrats wouldn't want an internet bill of rights because they're like, well, then how can we stop the information from the Kremlin? So now, Jim Jordan nominated. This is actually a really, everyone should be proud of what's happening. Some people like had issue with some of the titles, and I'm like, well, if you read the whole title, it's not that big of a deal, and it's pretty accurate also in terms of, yeah, Jim Jordan now has the inside track. If he wanted it, he could take it. So if I say winning, he's winning currently. He is winning currently. I don't understand why people get very few, like 1 out of 100 comments say title. It's like, well, read the whole title or like watch the first couple of minutes and I explain exactly what's going on. Um, you can compare my channel to like other channels, and I'm far more accurate, far more um, on point. The analysis is a lot better, especially the mainstream. Okay. But anyway, Jim Jordan nominated for Speaker by conservative hardliners amid GOP infighting for House leadership. So Jordan currently is saying we need to go. He's currently saying, no, 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 McCarthy, but maybe he's just trying to play ball. Exactly, Miss Jamie, exactly. I think that tomorrow there will likely be a couple more times where McCarthy fails. Now, what Matt Gaetz and what the Freedom Trump Republicans need to do is they need to get support, a lot of support tomorrow for somebody other than McCarthy. Because he lost the first 3 rounds and it could get dicey. So I did a segment today about Pelosi. People weren't happy about because it's or Jeffries, Hakeem Jeffries could. There's like a 1% chance. No, actually, well, a 1%, 2% chance that he could become a Democrat could become Speaker of the House. If you have Republicans, if you have Republicans who betray the Republican Party, I don't think that would happen. But there needs to be either Steve Scalise or Jim Jordan. Um, here is 3 strikes from McCarthy, but he's not out yet. Let's read this. So the House adjourned without a speaker. Roz Rodriguez, thank you again. Phoebe, thank you. E. Miller, thank you. All right, so let's hear. So the House adjourned without a speaker Tuesday for the first time in a century after Kevin McCarthy failed third straight vote for the gavel. And the final ballot, GOP leader watched his support begin to chip away. Staring down a threadbare majority, McCarthy's been unable to dislodge dug-in opposition from the right flank of his conference, who are now openly pushing for conservative hero Representative Jim Jordan to take the gavel. Jordan should mount opposition, but he has the House Judiciary, so he could take it if he really mounted. But again, even if McCarthy officially becomes Speaker of the House, that's what I'm trying to tell everybody. You're still going to have Matt Gaetz and Jordan as shadow speakers. So it's not the end of the world if McCarthy eventually wins. GOP lawmakers now hope to resolve their leadership battle privately. It's not humiliating. What was humiliating? I mean, it's humiliating for McCarthy, but it wouldn't even be humiliating. McCarthy and his allies have already begun talks with some of the 20 defectors in desperate attempt to break the detente. So we're going to have some more conversations tonight. We'll see what's next. Chip Roy, one of McCarthy's chief antagonists, he declined to say whether McCarthy's 20 dissenters would meet on their own. Well, they better meet on their own. He lost the vote of someone who had been supporting him. Representative Byron Donalds flipped on the third ballot to support Jordan. So Jim Jordan could be heaven sent. He could be heaven sent, ladies and gentlemen. Heaven sent. So we'll see. I mean, he could be heaven sent. Jim Jordan is in control now. It's just a matter of in a bid to cut off McCarthy opponents at the knee. Jordan gave an impassioned speech, but that wouldn't even be up to him though. That they want him. GOP leader didn't pick up any support in the second round. How long the speaker fight, my man? McCarthy acknowledged Tuesday it could last for days. Wow. It could last for 6 more months. Wow. How long the speaker fight will remain a favorite parlor game? McCarthy acknowledged on Tuesday it could last for days, while one of his opponents, Representative Ralph Norman, said they could persist for 6 months or more. In the meantime, House GOP risks a chaotic floor fight with no rules of the chamber. Yeah, I like that. Food fight. The chamber cannot even swear in its members without a speaker. Uh-oh, that's no good. That's no good. Hey, listen, you know what? It's better than just worshiping. Shauna, hello. It's better than just, I agree, Stefanik would be great. Lady Songster, she would. Um, See, here's the thing. At the end of the day, well, let me look up something really quickly. Okay, hold on one second. Let me look up something. I'm gonna do this on my phone. I'm gonna do this on my phone. Okay. So here, so Steve Scalise could do it. Steve Scalise would be a fantastic choice because he's in a leadership position already. Um, this is something that doesn't happen within the Democratic Party. See, Democrats, they'll just always look at this like, oh, what an embarrassment. No, this actually shows, believe it or not, it actually shows that Republicans are not a cult, that they can actually, that they have the ability to decide, they have the ability to decide their fate without simply falling in line. Angela Goodwin! Gates has been portrayed by Kevin McCarthy. No wonder he does not support him. That's true. Janet! Janet! Thank you, Janet! Greatly appreciated, Janet. Thank you. So kind of you. Angela, I agree. I mean, it does show strength, Kevin. It does show strength. Angela, I think I'm hoping that see Janet, Janet, thank you so very much. The Raj Rodriguez, everybody here. You know what should be happening tonight is they don't sleep. They shouldn't be sleeping tonight. No, none of these Republicans should be sleeping tonight. They should spend the whole night up talking to one another. And they should be like the 20 Republicans who oppose Jim Jordan should be trying to garner as much support as possible for Steve Scalise, or no, oppose McCarthy should be trying to garner as much support as possible for Steve Scalise. And this is how you do that. All you say is, look, you want McCarthy. They can go to anyone, any moderate, whatever, any Republican in blue state. Republicans in blue states would love to be more conservative than they are. Democrats in blue states would love to be more conservative as well. Okay, most Democrats who claim to be all like left leaning, it's the biggest racket of all time. That's why they're totally fine with Biden flooding the country full of 200 million barrels of strategic petroleum reserves because his initial energy policies were terrible. That's why he was sued by oil and gas associations in 14 states. So all you say is this: you call up every California Democrat, and then you say, "Look, we're never voting for McCarthy." If this is what Matt Gaetz or others should do. Alan Harkin, always the best. You are the neighbor I wish I could drink too much booze with and solve an American problem or two that nobody in the end will care much about. Exactly, Alan. Thank you, Alan. Greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated, Alan. I love that. Thank you so very much. I love that. Thank you, Alan. Greatly appreciated as always. Alan Harkin, you are awesome, sir. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, Alan and Janet. Happy New Year, Alan. Angela. Thank you, Alan, as always. Roz Rodriguez. Thank you. Angela. Just think about the can of worms they opened up. They are already heroes in my book. Oh, I agree with you. 100%, Angela. I agree with you on that. They are heroes. The people who, because this is showing what Democrats can't do. Democrats, AOC, Bernie should have voted against Pelosi, but they would never do that. That's not how they operate. They operate absolute allegiance. Angela, you're 100% right. Alan, thank you as always. Janet, the Roz Rodriguez. Here's the thing. What they should do. You know what? Jim Jordan should do this. Steve Scalise should do this. They should say, look, I want your support. We're not going to vote for McCarthy, but go ahead and give us your support. And McCarthy could have, Steve Scalise's. If Steve Steve Scalise, like, why? How can you take my job away? I don't know what. Give him some. You have to give McCarthy some kind of consolation prize, but it doesn't look like he's giving up. So you have to give people incentive to vote against McCarthy. Incentive. See, that's the reason McConnell is still relevant is because he has a Senate leadership fund. And he could give millions of dollars to Lisa Murkowski. Could you imagine if you gave $2-3 million to Don Bolduc? You could have easily gotten if they had flooded New Hampshire, very small state, with $2, $3, $4 million to Don Bolduc. I mean, he did better than people thought. The polls show that he was doing well. So Angela, you're 100% right. So I've been covering this and talking about it, and I will have, like I said, 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. every morning on this channel. Be here tomorrow, everybody, at 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. on H.A. Goodman and H.A. Goodman's other channel. I have a 9 a.m. and a 12 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. I think I'm going to head on out. You've all been absolutely wonderful. S23, hello. I think that if it lasts more than a couple of days, Trump should get involved. Trump has to get involved. And if that means I understand initially why people are wedded to McCarthy, but if he's not getting the support, now is the time to, pick somebody and make it happen. You pick Jim Jordan, he's already nominated now. He has the support of everyone who likes McCarthy would like Jim Jordan, so I don't know what the problem is. Same with Steve Scalise. Everyone who likes Jim Jordan likes Steve Scalise. Everyone who likes everyone who likes McCarthy already likes Jordan and Scalise. Everyone who likes McCarthy might not like Matt Gaetz. Okay. But they like Scalise and Jordan, so it shouldn't be that difficult. Brian, hello. Paul Bartlett, as always, thank you so very much. Hey, Theory, hello. Thanks, everybody. Karma, hello. Thanks, everybody. God bless. Eric Samurai, thank you so very, very much. Kevin Duder, thank you. Everybody here, thanks so much. Alan, Janet, the Roz Rodriguez, Angela. Thank you so very, very, very much, everybody. E. Miller, thank you again. Phoebe, thank you. Everybody here, thank you. Paul, I can't thank you all enough. And the Roz Rodriguez, so kind of you as always. Happy New Year, everybody. I think I'm doing a pretty good job addressing the Speaker of the House situation. You know, the 99% of everybody watching loves the video, so I have to focus on the positives. Thanks so much, everybody. God bless. I'll be back tomorrow, 8 a.m. Phoebe, thank you. Uh, 8 a.m. The Roz Rodriguez, thank you. 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. Um, every single day on this channel. Thanks.